Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. Today I want to show you a brand new creation that I call the Pop of Color Bracelet. I love this bracelet. This bracelet basically uses 12mm Rivolis that you're going to connect together to make a beautiful, stunning bracelet out of. So here's what you're going to need to make the bracelet today. You're going to need 10 12mm Rivolis. Now 10 will make a 7-inch bracelet. So each component that you do is going to take up about half an inch. So that's the thing to kind of know there. Half an inch to 3/4. You're going to need 5 grams of a size 11 Delica, 5 grams of a size 15 Miyuki brand seed bead, 1 gram of a size 11 seed bead. Now this can be Miyuki or Toho, whichever one you want. You're going to need 2 3mm Bicones, 1 size 12 beading needle, and 12 yards of your thread. Now if you're going to use fire line, you'll want to use a 4 or a 6 pound for that fire line. You can also use 1G as well. Now I say 1 size 12 beading needle. Now that's if you're going to be using a Tulip brand needle, and I will tell you in each of the 2 samples that I've made for this so far, I have went through 1 Tulip needle for each bracelet. This bracelet is really rough on your needles. So if you're using a pony needle or a different type of needle, you may go through needles pretty quickly. So that's why, like, if you purchase a kit from us, you're going to get a whole pack of needles actually in your kit. So that's what you're going to need. So go ahead and get your materials together and we'll get started. So in this bracelet, you're going to be making individual components that are completely encased, like this one here. Now I've used one solid color with my 15s and my 11s so that there's no distinction between those. But for what I'm going to show you today, I'm going to use different colors for each bead so you can see the rows that I'm doing. So it's not too much of a repetition. I have gone ahead and done a peyote stitch row with a 32 size 11 Delicas, and I've gone ahead and done my first row. And to see more of this full encasement, you can also look at my Christmas ornament I did just a few weeks ago, because it's basically the same thing. So I'm coming out of, I've stepped up and I'm coming out of my size 11 Delica here up top. I'm going to pick up 115 and I'm going to go through the next Delica sticking up. Now as I do this, I want to pull the thread tight because I really want this one row to pull down towards the center. So I'm just going to go through, picking up a 15 and going through the next 11 Delica all the way around. So once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece will look like. And it may not look 100% circular just because of your tension, and that's completely fine because we fix that when we stick the Rivoli in there. So I'm coming out of the last Delica that I went through. So I'm going to come through the next 2 Delicas at a diagonal so that I'm coming out any of the Delicas that are sticking up on the back side of this encasement. Now if you want to, you can actually go ahead and put your Rivoli in here face down, or you can do this row and then put the Rivoli in. So I'm going to start out just by picking up a 15 and going through the next Delica that's sticking up around the outer edge. And how I do this is I kind of keep my thumbnail right here inside the encasement, so that way as it pulls together, it will pull together up and cup like that. So then I just turn it, pick up the 15, go through the next 15 or the next Delica that's sticking up. Now I'm going to go all the way around, just picking up 115 and going through the next Delica that is sticking up. Just be careful that you don't get your threads caught, and as you work it will start to cup up. So once you've gone all the way around, this is what your piece will look like. Now you're ready for your Rivoli. I'm going to take the Rivoli and I'm going to put it in face down so that I am seeing the foil part of the backing. I'm going to use a different color of 15 now, you'll use the same one, but I'm using a different color just so you can see. For this round, I'm going to pick up a 15 and go through the next 15 that's sticking up. And I want to pull this tight as I work around so that this will really pull down over the Rivoli that I have just inserted. So I'm going to pull this tight as I work, just adding the 15 and going through the next 15. Once you've gone all the way around and you've added the last 15, you'll want to step up through the first 15 you added in the round, which is going to be this one here. Now we're going to do a decrease row. So I'm going to pick up a 15. I'm going to go through the next 15 that's sticking up. Then I'm going to go through the lower and the upper 15. So I'm not going to add anything. I'm just going to go through the beads. So I'm going to go through the purple bead and then through the gray bead. Now I'm going to add my bead. So I'm going to pick up a 15 and I'm going to go through the next 15 sticking up. Pull that. Then go through the lower 15 and then the upper 15. And you are going to do this all the way around so that when you get back around, you're going to step up by going through this first bead that you added in the round, which is going to be this bead here. Once you've finished the row and you've stepped up, then we're going to do another just basic row. So I'm going to pick up 115 and I'm going to go through the next gold bead sticking up. 115. Whoops. Go through the next bead sticking up. And you're going to do this all the way around so that when you come back around and you go through this last gold bead, you'll step up through the first bead you added in the round, which is going to be this bead right here. Once the row is complete, this is what you'll have. You can see I've stepped up. We're going to work another row just like this row. So I'm going to pick up a 15 and I'm going to go through the next 15 sticking up. Pick up a 15. Go through the next 15 sticking up. And we want to do this all the way around, just picking up a 15 and going through the next 15 sticking up so that when you get all the way back around and you've come through the last 15 of the row, you'll step up by going through the first 15 you added in this row. So the next row that you work is going to be a decrease row. So that means I'm going to pick up a 15 and I'm going to go through the next two 15s that are sticking up. So I'm coming out of this one and I'm going to go through this one and this one. So we'll actually only be adding 4 beads on this row because I'll pick up a 15 and then I'm going to go through this one and this one. Pick up a 15, go through this one and this one, and then pick up a 15 and go through this one and this one. So that now I'm ready to step up. So to do that, I'm going to go through the first bead I added in the round, which is going to be this gold bead. Now I'm going to pick up a 15, go through the next bead sticking up. Whoops. Pick up a 15, go through the next bead sticking up. I'm basically going to do this to add 4 beads to my round. Okay. So when I go through my last gold bead here, I'll then step up through the first bead I added on the round, which is going to be this one. And then I'm just going to stitch through these 4 beads again to pull the center together. And I want to stitch through the beads here on the back to come out of any bottom bead of my stacks of 2. You can see here I have a stack of 2, a single bead, a stack of 2, a single bead. So you want to be exiting the bottom bead of any of those stacks. Now once you do that, you are going to leave the thread. Don't take that thread off. Then you are going to make however many more Rivolis that you're going to need. And I actually already have a good many of mine made here so that you can see. So you're going to make your total amount that you think you're going to need. And you can see I haven't taken any of the threads off, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread a needle onto one of these tail threads here. And then I'm going to start the encasement or the connection process. Now, to do the connection process, I'm going to lay these components side by side, just like this. You have your 15s on the bottoms and then your rows of 11 Delicas here along the sides. These rows of Delicas that you're adding, that you've got here on the bottom, are going to be our connection points. If you lay your bracelet flat on a surface, it may not lay perfectly flat. It may have some little kinks, you know, like this, and not lay perfectly flat. And that's okay, because we want to do this so that way when it actually curves for the bracelet, it will be curved exactly like you need it to be. So I am exiting a stack of 2 beads here. You can see there I'm exiting my stack of 2. Oh, let me grab some of my 15s. So from where I'm coming out here on the base, I'm going to pick up 2 15s. And since I've already got my thread exiting where it needs to be to add the clasp bead, I'm going to come directly across and I'm going to go through the bottom 15 of this stack of 2. Now, it really, I mean, if you want to, you can actually go through any of these bottom stack beads and then just stitch your thread to where you need it to be, but I like to go ahead and take one less thing to do. Then I'm going to pick up 2 15s and I'm going to go back through, well, okay. It helps if you put these on right. You can see here what I've done wrong, because my thread is coming out of this one towards the top, and I just went through this one from bottom to top, so it goes at a diagonal, and that's not what I want. So now you know what not to do. So see, all you people who say I never do anything wrong, now you got to see it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go down through, there we go. So I'm going this way through a Delica, then I'm going to do 2 15s, and I'm going to come through the Delica on this second encasement, going in an upward motion, so that when I do that, that now connects these 2 encasements. And you'll want to go through that little section several times, and then we're going to tie off the thread. Now you only want to tie off the thread on the second Rivoli. Don't tie off this thread, because this is going to be where we add our clasp. So you'll want to connect each of your components in this way, just going down the line. So once you have all of your components connected, this is what your piece will look like, and you are ready to actually start adding your clasps. So to do that, on this last component that I connected, I've stitched my thread to where it's exiting opposite where I connected the pieces here. Now you can use any kind of clasp you want. I actually have used my beaded toggle pattern to make my own clasp so that it will match what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this clasp. So exiting out of this bottom 15 here, I'm going to pick, or 11, I'm going to pick up 2 15s. I'm going to go through the 11 here, and then 2 15s and come back through the same 11 Delica I was coming out of so that it makes a circle. And I'm going to reinforce this a few times and then tie this thread off. I've got the toggle part of the clasp attached, and now I'm ready to add the toggle bar. So I want to make sure that I'm coming out of the 11 Delica opposite where I connected the first and second components. Now, on my first bracelet, I attached it just like I did the toggle ring, except for I used 3 15s. Now it goes through the toggle ring just fine with no problems whatsoever. But for me personally, when I wear this particular one, it's just a little bit tight on my wrist. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 5 15s. Then the other part of my toggle, and then 5 15s. Now if you if you do this and it's you need a little bit of extra length, this is the way to do it. If without having to add a whole nother Rivoli, because if I added another Rivoli, the piece would be too big for me. So I can just add those few more 15s here, and then that would give me that little bit of extra length that I'm gonna need. So I'm going to reinforce this and then tie this thread off. So once you have your toggle added, this is what your finished bracelet will look like. This is the rose Swarovski Rivolis, and then this one is fuchsia, and I will also have a cyan red kit, or a light cyan, which is a beautiful red, so you can see just how pretty this bracelet is. So I hope you enjoyed the video for the Pop of Color bracelet. You can find the written pattern as well as kits and materials on my website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye!